What if the person you thought you knew best was merely a reflection of their own grandiose self-image? Welcome to the exploration of narcissism. Today, we turn our lens on this complex and often misunderstood personality trait that is as fascinating as it is controversial. Narcissism, a term rooted in Greek mythology, has become a buzzword of our time, a phenomenon that's more prevalent in society than we might like to admit. It's not just about self-love, vanity, or an inflated ego. It's a labyrinth of self-obsession that can have profound impacts on relationships, workplaces, and communities. Over the next several minutes, we'll be peeling back the layers of narcissism, examining it from various angles, unmasking the latest research, and shining a light on the signs to watch out for. We'll also explore how to navigate the challenging waters when confronted with narcissism. Stay tuned as we delve into the latest research findings on narcissism. Narcissism isn't a one-size-fits-all label. It exists on a spectrum. Yes, you heard it right. The narcissism spectrum is broad, ranging from healthy self-esteem on one end to pathological narcissism on the other. Let's start at the more positive end of the spectrum. Here, we find healthy self-esteem. This is where individuals hold a balanced view of themselves, acknowledging their strengths while also being aware of their weaknesses. They value themselves, but not at the expense of others. It's a healthy level of self-regard that everyone should aspire to. As we slide further along the spectrum, we encounter what psychologists refer to as normal narcissism. This is a level of self-regard that may be considered slightly inflated. People here may hold themselves in high regard, perhaps even a touch too high, but they are still able to empathize with others and maintain healthy relationships. However, as we move further along the spectrum, the balance starts to tip. We enter the territory of what is known as malignant narcissism. This is where the narcissism becomes harmful, not just to the individual, but to those around them. Here, people may exhibit grandiosity, a lack of empathy, and a need for admiration that goes beyond the norm. At the farthest end of the spectrum, we encounter narcissistic personality disorder, often abbreviated as NPD. This is a mental condition characterized by an inflated sense of importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence lies a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest criticism. NPD isn't just about being self-involved. It's a complex and multifaceted disorder that can have damaging implications for the individual and those in their orbit. It's important to recognize that not everyone who displays narcissistic traits has NPD. The key difference lies in the intensity of the symptoms and the extent to which they interfere with a person's daily life. Remember, not all narcissism is harmful, but when it crosses into NPD, it can be detrimental. The narcissism spectrum is wide and varied, and it's crucial to understand where on this spectrum an individual falls. After all, a little self-love never hurt anyone, but too much of it can lead to a world of harm. Research is continually shedding light on this complex trait. Let's uncover the latest findings. The field of psychology has been hard at work, delving into the intricacies of narcissism. In recent years, one of the significant findings is that narcissism isn't as black and white as previously thought. It's more of a spectrum where individuals can exhibit varying degrees of narcissistic traits. A groundbreaking study led by a team of researchers at the University of Georgia found that narcissism might have a genetic component. The study looked at identical and fraternal twins and discovered a moderate heritability factor. This essentially means that while genetics can play a role, it's not the sole determinant. On the other hand, environmental factors are also strongly implicated in the development of narcissistic traits. For example, parenting styles can have a significant impact. Children who grow up with overly permissive parents, or those who are excessively pampered or excessively criticized, may develop narcissistic tendencies as a defense mechanism. Furthermore, the research also points out the crucial role of societal factors. Today's culture, with its emphasis on self-promotion and individual achievement, may foster narcissistic tendencies. As we become more connected online, the line between healthy self-esteem and narcissism seems to blur. It's also important to note that these traits can manifest differently based on gender and age. For instance, young adults may exhibit more narcissistic tendencies than older adults. However, these traits can change and evolve over time, reflecting the dynamic nature of personality. Finally, the research also hints at a link between narcissism and other psychological disorders, such as anxiety and depression. This suggests that narcissism isn't just an isolated trait, but can be part of a broader psychological landscape. These findings help us understand the root causes of narcissism and how they affect an individual's behavior. Narcissism doesn't just affect the individual, it has significant implications for their relationships. To truly understand the impact of narcissism on relationships, we need to delve into the intricate web of interactions between the narcissist and their counterparts. This holds true for all relationships, be it romantic, platonic, or familial. Narcissism, in its essence, is a persistent pattern of grandiosity, a constant craving for admiration, and an evident lack of empathy. These traits naturally seep into the narcissist's relationships, creating an environment fraught with emotional turmoil. In the realm of romantic relationships, narcissists often engage in a cyclic pattern that can be best described as idealization, devaluation, and discard. The stage of idealization is characterized by the narcissist showering their partner with excessive affection and attention. They put their partners on a pedestal, making them feel special and loved. However, as the relationship progresses, the devaluation phase sets in. The once admired partner is now subjected to constant criticism, manipulation, and emotional neglect. The narcissist begins to portray their partner as inferior, often blaming them for the issues within the relationship. The final stage, discard, is where the narcissist, feeling bored or threatened, abruptly ends the relationship. This can leave the discarded partner in a state of confusion and emotional distress, questioning their self-worth and reality. This cycle isn't only confined to romantic relationships. Platonic relationships also bear the brunt of narcissistic behavior. Friends of narcissists often feel used and unappreciated, as the narcissist tends to exploit friendships for their gain, showing little regard for the other's feelings or needs. In the face of such disruptive behavior, it's important to recognize that narcissism is not a reflection of the worth of those on the receiving end. It's a manifestation of the narcissist's own insecurities and need for validation. Living or dealing with a narcissist can be an emotional roller coaster. Recognizing the signs and patterns can be the first step towards understanding and navigating these complex relationships. The workplace isn't immune to narcissism. In fact, it can be a breeding ground for it. Now, why is that? Well, the professional environment often rewards assertiveness, confidence, and ambition, traits that, in excess, can veer into narcissistic territory. When this happens, the workplace can become a stage for self-centered individuals to play out their need for admiration and control. Picture this: a colleague who always needs to be the center of attention, who disregards others' ideas, and who constantly seeks praise for their work. This is the narcissist at work. They may appear charismatic and successful at first glance, but underneath the surface, they often lack empathy for their coworkers and can be overly critical of others. Narcissism in the workplace isn't just about ego trips. It can also have a significant impact on team dynamics. Narcissists tend to dominate conversations, making it difficult for others to voice their ideas. They may also undermine their colleagues to elevate their own status, creating a competitive rather than a collaborative environment. This can lead to resentment, frustration, and decreased job satisfaction among team members. In terms of productivity, narcissism can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, narcissists' self-assuredness and drive can propel them to high levels of achievement. On the other hand, their inability to accept criticism and their tendency to blame others for their mistakes can lead to poor decision-making and even project failures. Moreover, narcissists' constant need for admiration can lead them to focus on tasks that are highly visible and offer immediate gratification, neglecting less glamorous but equally important tasks. This skewed focus can damage the overall productivity and efficiency of a team. Navigating the waters of workplace narcissism can be challenging, but understanding its manifestations and impacts can help us better equip ourselves to handle such situations. While every workplace may have its share of narcissists, it's important to remember that a healthy work environment values collaboration, respect, and empathy over self-centered ambition. Narcissists can create toxic work environments, undermining team morale and productivity. But remember, recognizing these behaviors is the first step towards addressing them. How can you spot a narcissist? Here are some telltale signs. First, we encounter the inflated sense of importance. A narcissist often sees themselves as superior to others, even when there's no factual basis for such a belief. They might exaggerate their achievements, expect to be recognized as superior without appropriate achievements, and even belittle others to bolster their own self-worth. This self-perceived grandiosity is not just confidence, it's a distortion of reality. Next, we have a constant need for admiration. Narcissists thrive on praise. They have an insatiable thirst for adulation and will go to great lengths to secure it. This might manifest in an obsession with appearance, a fixation on status symbols, or an incessant need to be the center of attention. It's not just about liking compliments, it's about needing them to maintain their inflated self-image. Then there's the lack of empathy, arguably one of the most damaging traits of narcissism. Narcissists often struggle to genuinely understand or share the feelings of others. They might dismiss your feelings, ignore your needs, or exploit others without remorse. This lack of empathy can make interacting with a narcissist incredibly challenging and often hurtful. In addition, narcissists often demonstrate a sense of entitlement. They typically expect special treatment and unquestioning compliance with their expectations. They may react with rage or contempt if they don't receive the special favor or obedience they believe they deserve. This sense of entitlement is more than just being spoiled. It's a belief that they are inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. Finally, there's the tendency to take advantage of others. Narcissists are often willing to exploit others to get what they want. This could be emotional, financial, or even physical exploitation. They might use others as a means to an end, disregarding the impact of their actions on those around them. Recognizing these signs can help you navigate interactions with potential narcissists. So you've identified a narcissist in your life. Now what? Well, let's navigate these troubled waters together. The first step in dealing with narcissism is understanding that you can't change the narcissist. It's an ingrained personality trait, not a simple habit they can kick. When dealing with narcissists, it's crucial to establish boundaries. Think of these as invisible lines that you draw around yourself to protect your mental and emotional health. These boundaries are not to punish the narcissist, but rather to protect you. At home, this might mean limiting the time you spend engaging with the narcissist or deciding on certain topics that are off limits. It could be something as simple as saying, "I won't participate in this conversation if it turns into personal attacks." In a work setting, dealing with a narcissistic coworker or boss can be more complex. Here, it's essential to maintain professionalism and avoid getting pulled into their game. Keep conversations focused on work and steer clear of personal topics. If you find yourself the target of a narcissist's manipulation, document instances of inappropriate behavior and don't hesitate to involve human resources if necessary. In social circles, a narcissist can be the life of the party, charming and engaging until their true colors come to light. It's important to remember that you have the right to choose who you spend your time with. If a friend consistently makes you feel small or unimportant, it might be time to reconsider that friendship. Dealing with narcissism also involves taking care of yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the narcissist's world and lose sight of your own needs and feelings. Regular self-care, whether that's a walk in the park, a yoga class, or just some quiet time with a book, can be a lifeline in these situations. Remember, it's okay to seek professional help. Therapists and counselors are trained to handle situations like these and can provide you with the tools and strategies to cope. They can also help you understand that you're not the one at fault. Narcissists are experts at making others feel responsible for their actions, but it's important to remember that you are not to blame. So, if you find yourself in a relationship with a narcissist, whether it's a partner, a family member, a coworker, or a friend, know that it's okay to step back, to protect yourself, and to seek help. You don't have to navigate this journey alone. There are resources and professionals who can provide guidance and support. And finally, remember that it's okay to walk away. If a relationship with a narcissist is causing you harm, you have every right to remove yourself from that situation. It's not a sign of weakness, but rather one of strength and self-respect. Remember, dealing with narcissism is challenging, but you are not alone. Today, we've journeyed through the complex world of narcissism. We've navigated the intricate maze of this personality trait, which is far more than mere vanity or self-absorption. We began by probing into the concept of narcissism, revealing it to be a spectrum rather than a binary existence. On one end, we have healthy self-esteem, while on the other, we encounter individuals with narcissistic personality disorder. It's important to remember that narcissism isn't inherently bad, but becomes problematic when it's excessive and harms others. We also unmasked the latest research on narcissism. Studies have shown that narcissistic tendencies can be both genetically inherited and influenced by environmental factors. It's a fascinating field of study, with new findings constantly broadening our understanding. We then delved into the impact of narcissism on relationships and the workplace. Narcissistic individuals can create tumultuous relationships marked by manipulation and lack of empathy. At work, they can be charming and charismatic, but often seek power and dominance, which can lead to toxic environments. We also discussed the signs to watch out for in identifying narcissistic behavior. These can include a grandiose sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy, a need for excessive admiration, and a tendency to exploit others for personal gain. Then, we explored strategies for dealing with narcissism. It's crucial to set boundaries, practice self-care, and seek professional help if necessary. Remember, it's not your responsibility to change a narcissist, but you can control how you respond and protect your own well-being. Our journey through the realm of narcissism has been enlightening, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. The more we understand about this complex trait, the better equipped we are to navigate relationships and environments where it may be present. Remember, understanding is the first step towards dealing with narcissism. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.